recovery, and the shuttle has cleared the tower.
Hey, welcome to the Health or High Water podcast. Brett here with Tripp and Bethany. What's going on, guys? How you doing?
¿Cómo estás?
Hello.
Hello. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you joining. We hope you've been along the entire journey with us here. And if you are new today, and this is your first episode listening to us, I want to say thanks so much for joining us.
And we're sorry.
We are sorry. We'll try to keep this one PG-13. But yeah, if you're joining us for the first time, we appreciate having you here. A lot of good stuff. We have a great topic for you today. Let's just go around. Do we have any news updates from Bethany? News updates.
Since last time, I don't think so, but if it is anyone's first episode, I'm going to be at Orange Theory Wash Park this weekend on Saturday. I'm going to another cycling event in June 1st, so I got things on the books. Come see me.
Beautiful.
Bethany collects sticks, so make sure you give her one while you're there if you come to the event.
For my tree fort.
If you don't know, Bethany's company is called Pelvic Harmony. She's in here in our gym, Ascend Performance Training, and does a lot of different stuff. Everything from pelvic floor stuff all the way to massage therapy, soft tissue, injury rehabilitation, all that stuff. So you can find her on pelvicharmonyco.com. Check her out. Fantastic stuff. And then, again, that's Orange Theory this weekend in Wash Park.
Yep.
Other news.
In the short news today, proteins are affected by heat and can change their shape. End of news.
Nice.
Thank you for that.
Completely useless
Nugget.
information.
I love that,
Oh,
actually,
nugget.
though. Yeah, it's right up the alley. And then in news from us, we'll be starting some classes here at some new facilities at Assisted Living, we're getting into doing boxing for Parkinson's Foundation, which is fantastic.
DHL just walked
they're
in.
here we have a package, it looks like. Hold on, Chip, take over.
We're getting a package delivered. So today we are actually talking about genetic testing for couples and planning a happy and healthy family.
Cool.
Speaking of genetic tests, we got a genetic test delivered to us.
Shout out to
Nice.
Mindy.
So we have your test for you.
Mindy, yes.
What was I saying?
I think we're talking about other news, but then I kind of jumped into the episode.
In other news, was there anything else I was going to say?
New facilities, boxing, Parkinson's.
Oh, yeah, thank you, yeah. So Tripp and I are doing a lot of boxing for Parkinson's. It's fantastic. Even the Parkinson's Foundation has supported this and is on board now. So we're doing a lot of classes in new facilities. We also have a apartment complex program that's coming up. It's with Park Hugh over on Spear, starting
June 3rd or 6th, I believe.
So if you live over there at Park Hugh, it's a very nice place. We'll be over there hosting some strength training classes, and it's starting in June. So you can find us on the schedule. This can be exciting too.
And if you guys are living in the Denver metro area, you guys are living in apartment complex communities that have community centers, we have 2 more apartment complexes or communities that we are doing 1 free 30-minute class a week. So make sure if you guys are interested in that, talk to your tenants or talk to your other tenants, your landlords, and see, reach out to us. We love to come in and help you guys get fit, teach some classes as well. We been. I do want to kind of touch on the senior care stuff real quick that we've been doing because, yesterday, Brett, you and I had a really cool experience walking into a class where people were clapping.
Oh my God, that was so wild. I've never experienced anything like that in my life.
Never. And I played a few shows like musically where, people are clapping and they're really into it.
Yeah.
And it's a high on its own, right? You know what I mean?
We walked into a class and we were 5 minutes early. Everybody was ready for us and they gave us a standing ovation.
Oh, it's so cute.
I was like, oh my God, we got to bring the energy
Aww.
more than we did. It was a fantastic experience.
Yeah.
Like, we're super blessed. See you go in, and me too when we're retired, and to see the energy we get back is insane. Mm-hmm. It's awesome, and I feel like we're gaining momentum. I'm really proud of you doing it.
Yeah, it's amazing to go to sleep knowing that you made somebody else's day better.
Mm-hmm.
And this Brett and I were talking earlier about how we this kind of fell into the laps. We just kind of walked into Belfort like, hey, would love to do a class with you guys, and then didn't know how much we were going to absolutely love it. And everybody out there listening, take some time to take care of the ones around you. If you got a family or loved one and care, give them a call, go visit them, make sure that they're having great activities that are done for them. one day you're going to be in that shoes too, so pay it forward. And I just had to kind of say something. I want to thank Rosemark and them for having us, and just all the people that have taken our classes and just giving us such good feedback. I just got to put that out there.
Yeah. And last thing on that, I want to give a shout out to Hilltop, another facility that we now have the opportunity to teach in. And super grateful to be there as well. So
100%.
that's going to be a good partnership for us, and really glad. All right, getting into our topic today, Trip.
Today we are talking genetic testing for couples and planning a happy and healthy family for the future.
Say that again.
No. Genetic testing for couples and planning a happy and healthy family.
Genetic testing for couples and planning a happy and healthy family. All right, let's unpack that.
So the pinnacle or the point of this conversation is genetic testing going to have an impact on how we have a family, how that child's going to last, as well as the impact on us having long and healthy lives as that child grows into an adult. Hopefully having kids, hopefully having grandkids. And my statement on this is it's totally going to affect things. It already is, right? We're already doing pharmacogenomics for kids. And for those that don't know what pharmacogenomics is, it's genetic testing for prescription medication for kids. So that's already enacted right now, and it's already helping. So
it's for adults too, right?
Well, it's for adults too, but it's
yeah.
But it's for everybody. But they're really using it in hospitals nowadays for kids. So the next step for that is going to be adults and testing for everything. Just like this our company that we're running right now does testing for everything from workouts, nutrition, supplementation, cancer risk, cardiovascular risk. I know it's going to be the future of how we plan for ourselves and our kids.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's so. What is the big benefit? We've talked about this quite a lot on this podcast. So if you've listened and followed our journey, you'll see all these episodes on genetic testing.
Yeah.
Genetic testing for couples. Why should they do it?
So what my big thing here is we should really be looking for genetic diseases and stuff, right? Sickle cell, those kind of things. CRISPR is already working on a way to unwrite that gene for sickle cell. So the future of this is just keeps on compounding. But we have enough technology now where we can test for those things in utero, right? So let's say someone like autistic genetic autistic testing. I think it's important for parents to know what they have on their plate when the baby comes. Hey, listen, do I need to put them in special care, this and that? Do they need long-term care after I'm gone? So those kind of things, as well as small things like what should my baby be eating? What kind of vitamin deficiencies is my baby going to have? And getting ahead of that so they don't have any issues down the road, right? You're seeing a ton of people with vitamin D deficiencies having all sorts of issues. Dr. Dorner came on and talked about how vitamin D deficiency can be a direct correlation to lupus. Right, so I really believe that understanding all these kind of things, especially while growing a family, is important. Not getting blindsided by information. Yeah,
definitely. I think there's a lot more curiosity with genetic testing. I think the big thing for a lot of the questions, at least I have, and I've heard, is it's interesting for sure, and I'm curious about it. Number one, how much does it cost? That's right. That's the first question. Is this cost effective? Can I, how much is it going to cost me and my family to do? And then, what am I going to learn from it? And me getting tested, I've talked about it before, what I thought about it, which was fantastic. But why don't you kind of adjust those two?
So
what's the cost? And then,
So cost is going to be dependent on what you're testing for. So testing for us is going to be around $500, and that's going to cover nutrition, workouts, the things I just kind of said. And the reason why I don't think that cost up front is that much is because what you're getting for it afterwards, right? So if let's say you don't get it, right, and then you have a kid that does have vitamin D deficiency and is sick, right? What are those medical bills going to cost you? Right? If you just would have known ahead of time, hey, listen, my son has a sensitivity to the sun, should not be getting vitamin D from the sun, but should vitamin D rich foods and supplementation, and avoiding those things down the road. So my question to answer your question is, what is that worth? Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a good point because you have to. Feel free to jump in, Bethany.
The preventative part of it.
Feel free to jump in.
Yeah, just knowing ahead of time what you can prevent and knowledge is such a big thing going forward. If you have a couple that comes in and they both do their tests and they get their results back, is that enough for you to go off of, or is there ever any additional tests they need to do?
So you're going to have to get a test because you don't know what 50% you're getting from which parent, right? So let's say, I was with someone and we had a kid, and I have extreme stomach issues. I've got ADHD. I'm slightly on the spectrum with kind of things. My wife could have completely different issues, right? We can test ourselves and we can kind of like determine, hey, listen, like the likelihood of your son having this and this is this percentage. But unless we get a genetic test from the kid, we don't know which genes got passed down, right? Because you can tell that with brothers and sisters, right? They're all 50-50, but they all look usually different a little bit, right?
Yeah.
They have their own characteristics. And that's the same thing with, everything in our biology with genetics is we just don't know until we know the indicators or test for the indicators.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's a good question.
That's a
Yeah.
great question.
Yeah, and the thing that's exciting for as I think about it too, in some of this stuff that we've talked about before, but I feel like it's important to cover, is how long did it take me to not be sold on this idea, but to like want to do this idea? I just didn't know the application as a trainer. I'm thinking, all right, get a genetic test back. Like, how is that changing my program? Am I doing more reps because of this? Am I doing more sets? As somebody who's done it, I'm kind of confused going, how's this going to change? And I think the big thing that, maybe instead of me saying is like, question is like, how does that change the programming? I'll just say my part is, for me, it gave me a more well-rounded approach, like this huge approach to why we're doing certain things. So it wasn't necessarily that like, oh, I'm changing from 8 reps to 12 reps.
Right.
It was like I had a bigger approach of like what vitamins I have, propensity to absorb better. Do I sleep better late at night or early in the morning? All these different factors come into this wellness program. Maybe this is a good time for you to kind of go over what this wellness program is, the comprehensive wellness program.
Yeah. So for me, the big thing is getting ahead of things, right? We are leaving medicine 2.0, which is you get sick, we cure you, moving into medicine 3.0, which is we prevent things before they even happen, right? That's the kind of thinking. And with genetic testing, like you said, we're able to do a variety of different things and understand that the perception of wellness is not just working out and eating right. Right? It's sleep, it's hormones, it's blood work, it's stressors. There's so many different things that go into it. And I think that's one of the best things that genetic testing does is help us understand that the perspective of health is a lot different than we perceive.
Yeah.
Way different.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, so what are let's kind of pivot there because that's a really great way to explain it. What are like the limitations? Because I know this is such a growing industry. It's developing rapidly. You've already discussed that. Like, where are some of the limitations that can draw us, me and the listeners, paint a picture of like where we're at and kind of where the limitations are, but also the other side of the coin too.
Yeah. So the limitations are that we can test you for certain things, but we don't know which is active and what's not active. Right? So that's why it's really important for us to do other things like blood work, biomechanical assessment, understanding your family and medical history to determine what's actually going on. So if we get, let's say we get your genetic test back, which we did, and your vitamin D metabolism is not efficient, right, or unfavorable, right? So we put you on a vitamin D regimen and you start feeling better. Then we know that's active. Or we could cross-reference that with your blood work and see if your vitamin D is low, and if you're already taking vitamin D, then we know that thing's unfavorable. Then we know that gene is active. So what we do is like we're going to probably give you more than the recommended dose of vitamin D because your body needs it because it doesn't metabolize it right.
Yeah. As
well as we get to understand where we need to metabolize it from. A lot of us have sensitivity to the sun, which can cause things like melanoma, and other fatal issues.
I'm genetically predisposed for heat stroke. My dad got heat strokes easily. I get heat strokes very easily.
Right.
Once you get it once, you get it a lot.
Yeah. It just opens a floodgate.
For sure.
So with that, it's about understanding how, where, and what we need in the right orders, right? So like for me, it's I lost my train of thought. I was going pretty good there for a second.
You were talking about the limitations.
Limitations. That's right.
With this
so the problem I'm seeing nowadays is people going out selling genetic tests, and then people are left with genetic tests and not know what to do with anything with it, right? Because the genetic test needs other counterparts, other tools, blood work, like I said, biomechanical assessment, and at that point you can actually put a full program together. Yeah. Right? It's just like understanding our genetics is a whole perspective, understanding the tools that we need to help with that is a full perspective for us as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's again, it's that anti-extremism idea we've been talking about for quite some time here, right? Using different testing, different models, different makes, aggregating all that data together and coming up with something useful for our clients.
Yeah. Yeah, and one thing, I like the way we've kind of put it all together, as far as you putting all the data points together and being very data-driven, and then, having Bethany doing the physical stuff here. And I like working with the mental stuff. I like working with how to approach programs, how to approach progress. I love, being a coach in all the sense. I think we have a really good trifecta here with what we're doing.
Yeah, let's kind of dive into, understanding, like, if you're getting a genetic test for your children or whatnot, understanding that there's a mentality factor to that too. Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you could be genetically predisposed to be depressed or optimistic, or or have anxiety,
Yeah.
right? So understanding that for your child early on is really important. Understanding who he is and how he or she needs to develop, right? So if they already have an unfavorable gene for anxiety and depression, I would take certain social anxiety situations to a different level, right? Or different way, instead of like, hey, listen, like, just go ahead and go up on stage or whatnot, but understand, like, maybe that's very, very hard for that child, and they need different kind of tools or methods to get over that, and that could drastically shape how that child develops into a man or a woman, right?
Yeah, and I like the way too you frame this more of as an investment. Like, this is a program that takes time, takes money, and a lot of stuff, and it's information that you're not just doing some sort of 3-month program and working out. Like, this is something you're going to have forever. You're going to have access to new alleles too, as they're discovered too, as well. So they're always adding more.
Well, and I'm going to kind of ask, as the genetic-based program designer here, is, having that information, Bethany, you with, recovery techniques, hey, this person's unfavorable, needs a lot more to recover, those kind of things. And Brett, with you, when you're understanding injuries, that, hey, like this COL A15, they have an unfavorable response. They have a crazy predisposition for ACL ruptures or Achilles ruptures, shoulder separations. Having that information, what does that help you guys build a program? Right? How does that help you guys build a program, understanding that already before you even see that person?
I feel like it just saves us a lot of time. Like, it saves me time going through, like, oh, that didn't work. It's been 4 weeks figuring that out. Now we can move on to this. Like, if you know ahead of time, it's so much easier to go forward, like, effectively and save time.
Yeah, and time's money.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously, the more you do it, the more you let's say you're a personal trainer or a physical therapist or whatever, the more reps you get and the better you get at it. You go, I've seen this before. So I feel like it's just painting a more complete picture.
Yeah.
It's just really drawing the lines in of like, oh, okay, I see. Now let's go right to the source. We're getting faster. We're more efficient. And knowledge is power too. Having the knowledge is like what gives us hope too. Like, if I know I have extra knowledge, I'm like, I feel more confident, right? I feel that confidence piece is huge, because there's nothing worse than being left in the dark. Like, if you've talked with anybody who has a illness, and then they've gone to X amount of doctors and they can't figure out what's wrong with them. Okay, and so they go and they try to take this pill and they try to take this pill. They go to this specialist. And then finally they meet somebody, like you were saying, Dorninger, I'm going to quote him because I love that guy. And he goes, hey, listen, here's what it is. And he finally diagnoses it. And he goes, here's what it is. Like, that's such a freedom, even though you have the same illness or same thing, but it's that knowledge of going, oh, I know what's happening to my body. So powerful. And that's kind of how I picture, coming in, getting a genetic test, getting a wellness program, getting to the gym, having all the ammunition in your pocket.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
No questions.
That I'm not sure if you know about it or not. So
perfect.
it just popped in my head.
I like this.
If you have a couple that comes in and they do their tests, is there anything you can do if they're like struggling with fertility and trying to have a family genetically?
Yeah, because at that point you can start eliminating things, right? Getting your genetic test. Maybe they don't have a good carbohydrate efficiency or what have it. Doesn't matter what it is. Being able to build genetic code or your semen in there takes certain nutrients, certain hydration, those kind of things. If you're missing a certain aspect, maybe your sperm count is low. And then at that point, we can kind of cross things off. It's like, all right, well, it's not your genetics. You look pretty good. Your blood work came back fine. I look at your hormones though, and they're trash. So at that point, just like kind of cross-referencing what you and Brad are saying is, we're able to understand things deeper. So let's say it is, a hormone deficiency, and then we can kind of fix that. So that definitely we can. There's actually paternity genetic testing for those kind of things.
That's cool.
Already. So there's paternity, and then there's what is the other one? I forget, but there's different types of genetic testing for that. So I know that I'm sure a bunch of fertility clinics use certain testing like that to see if it's the mother, the father. So it's already happening right now. But
That's cool.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah, just a little random factoid to give the listeners a little context too on this is when you get certified to become a personal trainer, there are many different certifications you could go through. Like you could go through NASM, National Association of Sports Medicine. It's probably one of the most recognized PT certs. Among others, there's others. And then there's a certified accredited board that says these certifications are the most nationally recognized and legit. One of those is who you're certified through. It's called the International Sports Science Association, ISSA.
Yep.
And so you are not only a certified trainer, strength and conditioning specialist, but DNA-based program designer. And I think that's sort of a new thing that people don't know what that is yet because it's so new.
Well, even like taking the certificate, I was like, these guys don't know what's going on, and that's kind of why I've been so hesitant to get more certificates and those kind of things, because that doesn't correlate to how you use information at all with the certs, especially with an industry that's new, right? They don't know what's going on, and they're the number one sports science accreditation or certificate company in the world, right? NASA 100% is the United States. But even them, they don't know. They can tell you like, what's a nucleotide, what's a SNP, what's an allele, but they're not really explaining through the certificate how to apply this stuff to training, really. Yeah. And that's the lapse in information that needs to happen, right?
Yeah. Well, I like the way you approach it too, because I feel like when you have meetings with people, I feel like you give them a mindset or a better mentality on all this information that you're throwing at them. So you're not just reading off when you have a consult with somebody after the genetic. You're not just reading off, here's your blah blah blah. Like you're actually helping them develop a mindset on why this is important, how this may change particular behaviors, and like I said, knowledge is power. So they feel more, comfortable coming out of that lesson, going, "Oh crap! Wow, I didn't know that."
And I think that's going to be the saving grace for raising kids nowadays, is getting genetic tests, getting blood work done every now, as frequently as possible, understanding what's going on in the body so you can be prepared for what's happening down the future.
Yeah.
Right? Because we talked about this with Lance Vieta during the football episode about all these kids getting hurt at such an early age, and understanding listen, maybe your kid is predisposed to tear his ACL. So what do? It's like we're going to get him on a prehab program that's going to strengthen that place instead of you having to eventually go to rehab. So with raising kids, even with sports and stuff like that, this is going to change the game of how we do things. And this is going to be the future. It's almost like, again, I use this reference all the time. It's like taking GPSs away off the cars. We're not going back to not having GPSs.
For sure.
I would die.
Imagine the chaos.
I would never get anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, I would go right back to MapQuest. You know what I mean?
The printout.
Remember the first
paper?
Garmin? The very first Garmin?
Yeah.
You're like, what is this? It was a road, but the road, it was wild.
It didn't really have any trees or anything like on it.
No,
It was just
a line.
Like buildings
It's
around
just a
it.
line, yeah.
Now you can see the GPSs actually have buildings.
The
you can
3D ones.
wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's getting bigger. It's more. That's why I believe in it. That's why I jumped on it early and was like, yeah, man, you know what? You're onto something here. And Gene Planet just got funded. Our company is Gene Planet out of Slovenia. A whole bunch of incredible PhDs, chemists and geneticists and molecular biologists, all sorts of highly credentialed professionals. They just got funded an additional $30 million. Through one of their partners, so that's $60 million now in the last year alone.
Nice.
And those are our partners. We're one of their partners. They reposted our podcast last month, and so we're growing our relationship with them, and it's been fantastic.
Yeah, shout out Gene Planet.
Shout out to Gene Planet on the forefront of preventive wellness.
Yeah, and I know kind of wrapping this episode down here, and I know we kind of hit on genetics quite a bit on this podcast for you guys listening, but the importance of what we're doing, Gene Planet's doing, everybody's doing to potentially help families, anyone out there who potentially needs it, find out what's going on, coming up with a plan and figuring it out. So I know we have a crisis going on right now in health and wellness, especially in extreme cases like my mom with dementia, cancer, cardiovascular disease. We have to do something about it, and I'm glad that we've taken a step forward and try to do something and partner with people like Gene Planet, you, Bethany, you at Pelvic Harmony, and so many other people. I just really grateful for this journey, man.
I want to give you a shout out. Thanks, man. This has been, I know we get to hang out all the time, but I know people like to listen to you, talk about some of this stuff on the podcast. So thanks for taking the time and the great information today. Bethany, anything you want to add to the finale?
I don't think so. I'm just excited to see all the people that come in and get their tests done and all the awesome results they're going to have.
Oh, for those listening too, if you are interested in getting genetic tested, two of our packages now include Bethany's massage therapy.
Sure do.
Ooh, look out.
Yeah,
for
so not only are you getting a genetic test, blood work, a biomechanical assessment, 2 months of personal training, you're getting 2 months of massage therapy to go along with it.
Holy moly. Genetic test, personal training, massage therapy, supplements, you name it.
Program, everything, man.
Everything we're doing here. So come see us. Hit us up. Ascend Performance Training. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Health or High Water. We will see you next time.
Bye.
Like, share, subscribe. Shh.